How's it going? Andrew, Thomas, Stuart Lundy, or Green, Imran, hello. One man, how you doing? North, YouTube. Renewed awareness, how's it going? I've seen a couple of you guys in some of these chat boxes. I'm going to just talk about some of these questions that we get. There's a few people that are awful upset, and they're awful upset over objective inquiry, while at the same time sitting in chat rooms, you know, patting each other on the back, having prolonged and sustained, you know, attacks on people's persons, and, you know, butter tyke and a bully type behaviours from the usual insecure, weak people. Again, I don't pay any attention to this. It comes to light when somebody shares something with me. As I say, there's a lot of people here that are upset, a lot of people that are claiming that I create division. Again, I never went to any of these people. I was here myself. These people come to me, you know, they think they comprehend things. They shout mantras and repeat, you know, practical this, that and the other. Then when something doesn't suit them, they turn on you. And it's quite annoying. It's not very nice to see either. So I thought I would just, you know, address some of their questions. Again, how am I being divisive? If you're coming here to my channel and hearing things you don't like, and then running away to other channels, misrepresenting me, telling lies, you know, this, that and the other, you're the fucking divisive people, okay? No me. I'm just sitting here talking about objective reality. It's not my problem you don't comprehend it. And I'm hearing statements like, where's this going to get us? Where are you people getting us? Where have any of these detractors ever offered anything practical for their asinine, ridiculous claims? When have they ever, you know, went out there and made any sort of difference or added anything to this in any way, shape or form? There's loads of these little social circles of insecure, needy people who are just looking for a place to belong, and think that they're morally high and mighty and that they're lovey-dovey peoples, while they sit there and display utter contempt and, you know, vitriol for people that they don't even know. And I'm talking down to how people's appearance, you know, I mean, it's just horrendous. And these people are the ones that drag this whole thing back. These are the people that have the serious issues, you know. And again, I don't even need to make their names. I don't have to go into long diatribes about who they are and make comical cartoons and this, that, and the other. I mean, it's pathetic. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to address their apparent content, which has been addressed numerous times. I'm going to make an example out of it, you know, because again, I'm only here for the truth. I'm not here to be part of somebody's little social group, right? As I say, nobody forced you to come here. Highlight what the division is. I'll tell you what the division is. The division is people not understanding the topic, you know, miscomprehending it and then misrepresenting it, and then sitting in little fucking echo chambers of your same ilk, patting each other on the back while you dismantle people's characters and pass judgment on them. It's absolutely atrocious. So, you know, they're making statements that they're being dismissed, they're asking questions, although these questions have been asked over and over and over again. So I'm going to answer these questions and I'm going to turn these questions immediately back on them while they sit in their high horse, no understanding physics, right? And making outlandish, idiotic statements that, again, they don't comprehend what that entails. Not because I'm here to try and put anybody down. Again, I'm not making any names. Right? It's about the content. It's about the things that go on in people's minds and the questions that they ask. And questions are great. But when you ask a question and there's a response given to it, and you don't like that response, and you continue and continue and continue to ask the same question again, you're just trolling. And I see a lot of these people, you know, playing victimhood. They're going to channels that they say they disagree with. They're deliberately asking antagonistic questions, getting a response that they don't like, and then running away in their little echo chambers, creating hate campaigns, acting the victim. Again, people like myself, Andrew, William, anybody else that's new presenting any of this stuff, we're not coming to you. And then they sit there talking about egos and how we've got egos and this, that. I mean, I'm not running to their platforms and trying to, you know, get validation from any of these people. Right? I just see insecurity in people that are ill-equipped for the topic. Again, where's their content? What have they contributed? Other than sitting there saying, yeah, they're stationary, and asking, you know, asinine fucking ridiculous questions. Well, people are out there, you know, in actual reality, speaking to people, offering up practical references for everything that's being discussed, and taking things from an objective, practical sense. None of these people are doing that. None of the stationary earthers or the globe earthers, any of these people have got anything practical to support their position. So who's creating the division? Because the topic's objective. So if you've got people that are sitting there with subjective interpretations and subjective, you know, miscomprehensions of their reality, and the reason I can say that is because they don't have anything practical to support their positions. If they had something practical, there would be no issue. They wouldn't be sitting there acting the victim and professing everybody else is divisive because people are not accepting their wishful thinking. I don't care what words you have. You have to qualify your position through a practicality. So again, any of these detractors, any of these people, you're very welcome to come here and have that discussion. Ask me right to my face. And again, you want to act like that, I'm going to turn it right round on you and show you how utterly ridiculous you are. Yes, I've taken psychedelics, yep, joined it. That needs to be Martin, it's fucking freezing. Freezing. I skated up here to the shed. Again, melee agility, this is like kind of globe rhetoric. We've heard this before, you know, and we're going to hear a lot. These flat earthers are now doing the same things that they used to laugh at globe earthers for doing. Oh, what's underneath your flat earth? What's holding your flat earth up? You know, and now these people are doing the very same things. And can't see past their own fucking stupidity. And trampling on real genuine people that are offering practicality and endeavouring to get this further. You know, and I'm going to turn the question on them again, you know, what are you doing to advance any of this? You know? It's disappointing. You know, I mean, I'm used to it now. But, you know, but the instruments properly, I will, you know, there's a ghost here that's talking to me right now, but I don't have any instruments that are accurate enough to pick up the ghost. I mean, if people are making these statements, that's up to these people to demonstrate that. You know? They're the one claiming there's displacement and then saying, but I don't have anything accurate enough to well, it's just like me saying there's a ghost, but I don't have any accurate enough equipment to pick the ghost up, so therefore the burden's on you to prove the ghost isn't real. I mean, it's just people have devolved into retarded thinking. Exactly, it's their burden. Exactly, one man, he's detected. It's the cherry picking, so that they can, you know, position themselves into a little echo cult chamber and pat each other in the back as being the poor victims and the intellects that are driving everything forward when they've done fucking bugger all. Other than making videos attacking people and, you know, displaying their subjectivity. Oh, look at me, look what I've got, look what I'm up to. I mean, they've been fine. I pass no judgment. But they're passing judgment on the likes of me. So, and they're very divisive. They're some of the most putrid, horrible cretins you could probably ever experience. Well, they sit there thinking that they're lovey-dovey and up on a high horse. Right? It's an absolute fucking shambles. But again, I give no fucks about these people. But I'm going to highlight the nonsense. Aye, probably Andy Crone. Water vapour is lighter than air and rises. And it meets a cold air, it condenses back to liquid. When too many molecules start burning, it becomes heavy and falls as rain. What's that in reference to? Flatland? What's the point you're making? Can we have context to things and, you know, what it is you're conveying in relation to something? I don't know what to make of that. Right, let's get to questions. Right, so first and foremost, I'm hearing things like, if the Earth's in motion, you need infinite space. Ha 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 ha. Now you're just back to square one like a globe earther because you're invoking infinite space for your rising Earth to move through. Right, listen. Any Earth system that you want to conceive of, right? So let's say a stationary Earth, right? What's it surrounded by? What's it standing on? Let's invoke the whiteboard, shall we? To ram the point right up their wee baggy hoops. I'll use this just, you know, because it helps you be visual aid. You know, it's difficult to draw with a mouse, right enough, but hey ho. Do not judge me on my drawing abilities. Right, where are we here? Let me see, screen share. Right, so, in order for any object to exist, it has to be in a space. So what would that space be? Three-dimensional space, right? So what are you talking about? Are you going to say, oh, an object just exists in a nothingness? Well, that nothingness, even if it's a void, still is a space, right? It's in an area, right? So that object, no, okay, well, no, the object's in another area. All right, so now we put that. So where does this now operate in? So we'll take this as a flat Earth, right? Some conception of a flat Earth. All right, so we've got this flat Earth. What's it in? What's it sitting on? Is it just a flat Earth and it's just got nothing? It's not sitting on anything. So is it hovering? Is it? So you know, again, is it in a space? Which it has to be. If it's three-dimensional, it must be in a space. So is it infinite? Is the Earth infinite? Is that what you think? So if it's infinite, that means it's infinite that way too, and it's infinite that way too. Or are you wanting it just to be infinite laterally? I mean, what are you asking for? If it's infinite laterally, does that mean it's finite up here, so it's got a roof, which means it's got an up and down finiteness to it, but it's infinite laterally. Or, I mean, what's the position here? Yeah? Or is it another flat earth where it's, you know, it's just a flat earth but it's no infinite? Right? We'll just use a line to represent it. So is it on pillars? Right? So are these pillars now connected to what? Something else? Or are the pillars just floating in mid-air or empty free space? So if it's on pillars and it's sitting on something, then the thing that it's sitting on, what is that now? An infinite solid? Or is it another finite base that then has pillars that then sits on another finite base that then has pillars, and I mean, off we go into infinite regress. So these people that think if you're saying the Earth's in motion, which it demonstrably is, and saying, oh, you're going to need infinite space, for one, you're thinking that it's a uniform straight line motion to infinity. But again, none of you know that. I just know that it's in motion. But in any given scenario, doesn't matter what you're going to say about any Earth system. And again, I'm just doing this just to reverse it right back on them, because they all think it's hilarious. Well, let's all laugh at them. They all think the Earth just floats nowhere, surrounded by nowhere, no thing. It's just there. It's just a stationary thing, and it's just there. Does it sit on something? You don't know. Is it encompassed by something? It must be. It's a three-dimensional thing. It must exist three-dimensionally within another three-dimensional space. Unless, again, you think the Earth is infinite, which would be infinite in every direction. Upwards, left, right, down. So what? So you just get infinity of Earth. Infinitely deep, and infinitely tall, and infinitely wide, where it never comes to an end. Oh, how fucking retarded is that? Or this, it just floats there. It's just hovering in nowhere. Now, the fact of the matter is, and it doesn't matter how you depict it, if you want to depict it with a dome or it's just a square, enclosure. Well, it's in an area. So what's outside that? And if you don't know what's outside it, then it doesn't exist. Just like you don't know what's making you alive right now. So you don't know what's making you alive, therefore you're not alive. This is how their thinking goes. This is it. You hold their toes to the fire and show them how they think. You don't know why you're alive or how you're alive, therefore you're not alive. You don't know how your body functions, therefore your body doesn't function. You don't know where your thoughts come from, therefore you don't have any thoughts. You don't know what your brain is and how it works, therefore you don't have a brain. See how retarded this gets with these people that think because they're operating from ego and an opportunity to fucking, I don't know, think they're toppling somebody or whatever. This tells you everything you need to know about them. So ask them. Alright, you're stationary Earth, what's surrounding it? Because they think infinity is some ridiculous thing. So if you've got an Earth, doesn't matter what you think it is, a circle, a fucking square or whatever, well, it's got to be in something else then. And if you're going to say it's encompassed by something, then the thing that's encompassing it also takes up three-dimensional space. So what's surrounding it? Another enclosure. Alright, so that new enclosure must be, surrounded by something else. Do you think you're going to get to a point and it's no thing? No thing. An infinity of nothing. What are you talking about? This is what happens when you don't think things through and you're operating from knee-jerk emotional reactions because you're a bit neurotic. And you actually operate from your ego. A false ego, a messiah type ego, a want-to-be ego. Because as I say, I've just obliterated you on this immediately. Oh, if Earth's moving, it must be infinite space. Again, nobody's saying that. But what I will say is, to me, it makes no sense that any of this at some point devolves into no thing. Doesn't matter what way you look at this, you're going to end up at an infinite regress. Whether you say we're in an enclosure, well, the enclosure has to be surrounded by something. It can't just be nowhere. That's retarded. So is it surrounded by an infinite of nowhere? What does that mean? As I say, or if you want to go with enclosures, well, enclosures require a space also. So after the enclosure there's what? Nothing. And it's all just hovering in the middle of nothing, going nowhere, with nothing surrounding it, nothing supporting it. What is your position? You want to laugh at everybody else showing you the practical, but you've got nothing to support your own position. So again, alright, you've got a stationary Earth, what's it sitting on? Before we even get to the issues of requiring uniform downwards acceleration. Let me see if any of them are in the chat box. Highly fucking doubt it. Because they always want to sit in wee echo chambers, patting each other on the back. How you doing, Paul? Marty, how you doing? And that's the problem, Imran, and you see it when they ask these questions and make these statements and follow up by laughing. I'm not the one that's invoking anything infinite or any particular, aspect of outside the reference frame. These people are the one that are telling me I need to get outside the reference frame. While they sit there telling me it's stationary. With absolutely nothing to support the position. And again, you just reverse the questions. Well, what's surrounding your stationary Earth then? Is it sitting on something? What is it? Is it sitting on God's knee? Huh? And God's gone, zap. Downward vector, uniform downwards acceleration, zappity zappity zap. Is that what you think's fucking happening? Where are they? Your questions are being answered. Right. Next one. I mean, I've started with that, and I'll probably come back to this again just to hammer the point. The next one. Clouds. Clouds debunk an Earth that's in motion. Clouds debunk it. I'm going to make a smoke first. And then we'll talk about that nonsense. If anybody can bring up any, video of mine where I've, attacked people at a personal level or, put a prolonged, sustained diatribe and attack on anybody's character or persons or any of that stuff, can you go and get me? I've made mistakes in my life and I always hold my horn up, and I don't want to be one of these people that's here hammering and casting judgment on people's persons, because I certainly never want to be that person. It's no nice, and I am no any high and mighty person on any pedestal that's got the ability to sit and cast judgment on anybody else's persons. That's just not who I am. And anybody that knows me in my personal life knows that, I don't take kindly to bullying in any shape or form. Right? Or abuse. But this is it, right? See, this is what I'm going to highlight about the retardation and the ineptitude of their ability to. They're asking these questions without thinking it through. Although we've demonstrated buoyancy, we've demonstrated the buoyant effect of motion. Just like a cloud, if we go with clouds, being in reference to being buoyant, right? Again, we can talk about clouds and what they actually are, but I'm just going to take it for the positions of buoyancy, right? These people think that, that an earth that's in motion means that between the earth and the clouds there's this void. So there's no transfer of motion, and that the earth should just come up and hit the clouds. It's fucking insane. This is, when they ask that question, or say clouds debunk your moving earth, right away you can read their conclusion. Their conclusion is that if the earth's moving, then I should go up and hit the clouds. Because, you know, they're taking themselves and imagining they're going up the way and that they would hit the clouds. Or if you got in a plane, you hit the clouds. They're not thinking about the earth as a system that's in motion. And this density gradient and these, you know, buoyancy and density gradient layers that we have are created by that motion. So it doesn't matter if you move it. And again, I've highlighted this and I'm going to highlight it. If we take the ping pong ball attached to the spring at the top of the water as a cloud, a buoyant thing, you know, at the surface of water, and we accelerate it up, the bottom of the glass doesn't hit the ping pong ball. No, as we accelerate it up, adding to that motion vector, the buoyant effect increases. So just like clouds, if the earth was to increase its rate right now, the clouds would move higher up, because you're creating a greater pressure beneath, which in turn causes that upward buoyant effect. You're going to increase that. So let me just show it again for these people in the hopes that they have an epiphany. Right? So again, you know, it's shown here.
Back to that air.
They think that, you know, just like this bottle, as this accelerates forward, which it actually is moving forward, in their tiny pea brains, they think the base of this should hit the air bubble, because the air bubble should just stay where it is. Right? Here, we see it. Right? Note the distance between the 50 and the bottom of the ping pong ball. Now, as this is accelerated up, remember we're talking about the buoyant effect here, so the ping pong ball is like a cloud. Right? There's a buoyancy here. It's less dense. Right? Now, as Andrew accelerates that up, adding to that vector, you see the ping pong ball move further away from the base. The base isn't going to come up and hit the ping pong ball. Yeah, look at the increase. Look at that. So buoyancy is added to with the moving reference frame. Okay. The other one, when I jump off a building, I get a feeling. That feeling tells me that I am accelerating towards the ground. Again, for these people, you're the one that's now a certain downwards acceleration. We have shown you what happens when you actually accelerate things down. Buoyancy and density invert. Air bubbles are now moving towards the ground. Right? You're going to have the same problem again. Because you're going with your fuses and your misconceptions of things, you're missing the whole point. Now you've got a stationary earth, right, that's nowhere, sitting on nothing, with no vector to it in any way, shape or form. Now you're going to invoke things like my feelings. When I jump off a building, I've got a feeling, and it feels to me like I'm going down. That's because there's no orientation to all your system. Because it has that when you're standing on the solid earth. So of course you're going to get a feeling. It's going to be different because you don't have something solid pushing up on you anymore. And just because you feel something doesn't somehow give you a buy to assert now you've got a downwards acceleration. Demonstrate that there's downwards acceleration then. Not only are you going to have to demonstrate the downwards acceleration, you're going to have to account for why buoyancy and density cease to be in this downwards acceleration, why no displacement of solid gases and liquids occurs in your downwards acceleration, because I showed you yesterday what happens when I accelerate down. I also had an email from somebody who I'm not going to say their name right now, saying about if we think about, you know, the gravity argument, that gravity is acting on the water, it's the more mass and it's that that's being pulled to the earth, therefore it affects it, but you would still get displacement. How many times is it going to be shown to you? Accelerometers show you displacement when acceleration is at play. Now we've got a number of people requesting acceleration that defies practical physics, and they have nothing to support it other than wishful thinking, circular reasoning, special pleading, my fuses, my miscomprehensions of anything. That's the problem. So stationary Earth now has to tell me what's outside the Earth, what's it sitting on, what's surrounding it. How does it get its uniform downwards acceleration? How does it switch off buoyancy and density? Can you demonstrate any of these things? No. Can you invert any of these things? No. Can you manipulate them in any way, shape or form? No. I'm divisive. Well, you sit there in your fucking ignorance, your incredulity, and waffle this fucking shite, while at the same time attacking people who do comprehend it, who are presenting you with practical demonstrations, and who are showing integrity and honesty, and you are sitting there in these echo chambers, defiling people's characters. Well, you send love heart emojis to each other and act all caring with each other and this, that and the other. You're far from it. Yous are fucking vipers. Dirty little fucking rodents is what yous are. Yous are irrelevant. You offer fuck all other than total division and animosity towards people, and in turn creating the same back at yourself. You've got no content, you've got nothing to offer this discussion or this topic in any way, shape or form. Nothing. You don't even know how to use your own fucking mind. You don't even know how to communicate properly. What's your stationary Earth sitting on? What's it surrounded by? How do you get a uniform downwards acceleration? Can you demonstrate any of this stuff to me? No? Right. End of fucking story. Stationary flat earthers. It's just a pizza dish sitting in nowhere. These fucking loonies think it's just a pizza dish sitting nowhere, sitting on nothing. Or even worse, they think it's on pillars sitting on something. And that something that it's sitting on must be sitting on something else, and that's sitting on something else, and that's sitting... And they've never verified any of this stuff because they've never been outside of their stationary Earth. See how I can just reverse it? But the difference with you and I is I'm supporting mine through practical. The practical is what brings me to my conclusions. You don't have fucking anything other than your incredulity and my fuses, because you're weak and you want to be a somebody. These are the types of people that become an influencer over other people and cause a fucking shit show because all they're giving a fuck about is a self-aggrandisement, feeling as if they've got a bit of power and a bit of sway and a bit of this and that. You're weak. I dare you to come and speak to me with all your laughter, because I tell you what, I'm going to laugh even harder at you. I've just highlighted how utterly insane you are. You've got no comprehension of physics at all. I'm hearing these people professing that they're engineers. An engineer that thinks there's a stationary Earth floating in nowhere with a motion vector that's stationary, while professing they're more of an engineer and they're more fucking common sense and all this stuff. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. Ridiculous. exactly, and this is it, you know, about the gas thing. Oh, gas expands equally in all directions. It's no, you know, we're no living in an environment where the gas is spaced equally in every direction. Does anybody actually believe these fucking retards? Right? There's a pressure gradient. You go up a fucking mountain with a sealed container like a bag, right, with air in it. And as you go up that mountain, it expands because you're moving into a less dense, a less pressured area. The air's not equal in every direction. There's a compression closer here to the earth. That was the other one I wanted to show them. You know, we've all seen a helium balloon in a car. These people think that the helium balloon is accelerating the car, the back of the car should hit the helium balloon, when you can clearly see the helium balloon being pushed forward by the compression of air behind it. That's what we live in. We live in a gradient. We don't live in a uniform, you know, air pocket where the air density is the same here as it is up there and across there. It's not like that. These people that are telling you that stuff and repeating that stuff are liars. Telling lies to people. And people are listening to it and then repeating it because they've invested in some fucking guru. And it's no difficult. Walk up a fucking mountain. Note the difficulty in breathing that you're having. That's because there's a difference in pressure. Gas expands equally in all directions apart from here. You live in a gradient. So how can the gas have expanded equally? Do you know another interesting thing about this? That I was talking to my engineer buddy, the one that builds the warships, and he was telling me that they have issues, and get this, right? And maybe some of you know this, again, I don't know everything, you know, just like everybody else, but I thought this was very interesting. I'm going to go to the whiteboard here, right? So, and hopefully I get this right. I'm pretty sure I have got it right. So what he was explaining to me was this, right? So when they build the ships, right, and say you've got a fuel tank, right? Say we've got 2 fuel tanks, right? Right. Now you've got a filler valve, right? And it's so let's say this tank, for talking's sake, is 3 meters by 1 meter, right? And this little thing's say 10 centimeters. So that's your filler point for your tank, right? Now, the height of this tank, so let's say it's 10 centimeters, right, or whatever, 10 centimeters. Now, if you fill this tank up and you've accounted for a pressure at this volume, which would be here, and you overfill up this nozzle to here, right? The pressure that's increased within here is the same as if took that 10 centimeters here and increased this tank by 10 centimeters. So now I've got this increase in volume here, right? Here, there's only that volume, right? But it's about the height. So the pressure that's felt in here is the same in both scenarios, whether you've only got this little volume and height above this tank, or whether you increase that volume overall over that tank. That pressure increase in both scenarios is exactly the fucking same. Still thinking about that. And I think it's fucking incredible, but anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. No, I see, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was showing that. Well, this is what I've seen a lot of these people hammering. There was a lot of attack on William, level-headed William and Natalie, for daring to think about the possibilities of this motion and what could be going on in regards to other aspects of you know, the physics of what's happening here. And you have to constantly say that to people. Listen, if I talk about, you know, some rotational aspect that we're on, or maybe we're moving, you know, in some kind of arc or figure of eight, or, you know, whatever it may be, people are taking that as that you're claiming these things because you dare to investigate and ask questions. Well, these people sit and make affirmed statements that they are stationary with fuck all to back it up. Nothing at all. And as I've just done, we can just sit here and reverse the questions on these people. Are they going to answer to it? Because we continue to give answers. These people just run and avoid. So the other questions. What's powering your earth? You're not, apparently we're not allowed to say we don't know. And then that's to be followed up by laughter. You know, if I establish a motion vector, right, I can establish a motion vector because we can witness something in motion. But no knowing what's causing the motion doesn't detract from the fact that it's in motion. Right? And again, I don't know. I can't get outside the earth. Not that I know it anyway. I've never been there. So I don't know what's causing the motion. Just like you don't know what's sustaining your stationary earth, or what's giving life to you right now, or, you know, what your stationary earth's sitting on, or any of this stuff. And if I take all that away from you, you've got nothing. I've still got the practical. I'm still demonstrating that there's motion at play. What are you demonstrating? Fucking zilch. Nothing. Now that's it, Jacques, you know, because they're just repeaters. I spoke about this from the very off, me and Marty did. It's pointless people entering this unless you have the discernment, the ability to reason and think, right? If you're just coming into this and just jumping into some social event, thinking you're part of some subculture because you're operating from your ego and you want to be in a wee group and then you repeat mantras, you're not thinking. You're just part of a cult. And you're displaying that you're part of a cult when you make videos and make these fucking nonsense statements to people. And just because you've got sycophants that are just as dumb as you know, patting you in the back, it's not going to benefit you. They're just as dumb as you are. If that's what's fueling your confidence. But your confidence should be shattered. I've just highlighted how utterly absurd you are. No, you personally. Again, I don't know these people personally. Talking about their content so that they can't take everything out of context and say I'm attacking them. If I wanted to, but I don't, I would go to these channels and I would show you what's going on in the chat box and what the statements are underneath their videos. I mean, it's horrendous. Maybe they should be exposed. We'll see. If they keep going with it, I might just do that. But if some of them thrive on the attention, they're desperately insecure and desperately, because they've not got anything. Right? All of sitting there patting each other on the back. So they're desperate for some external attention so that they can get all hyped up and make videos so they can feel as if they're relevant. They're not relevant. It's no, I don't know what it is. It's something to do with the focus. I tried that earlier. I thought it was condensation, but it's no. Look, I mean, people are going on about Rachie, and look, see, at the end of the day, Rachie's articulating or reasoning, right? For me, there's loads of flaws and special pleading and requests and miscomprehensions in that reasoning. But at least there's an effort to put out some sort of cohesive reasoning. And again, I extensively went into the globe concept, so I comprehend the rhetoric, I comprehend the interpretations, right? And how they're defining things and interpreting things and blah, blah, blah. Right? And everybody's, for me, you can go and believe what you want. If you're justifying your beliefs to yourself, that's fine. I don't need to sit and attack Rachie. I don't need to make videos about Rachie in order to bolster me and make me feel secure. I discern for myself. I observe reality and I come to my conclusions based on the practical, and that's my shtick, that's my position. If anybody wants to challenge that and welcome it, bring your practicality and demonstrate your position. But at no point am I ever going to sit and think, well, their reasoning's wrong, so I need to make hit piece videos on them. I need to constantly sit and barrage them and make cartoon images and stick their face on all this nonsense. I don't need to do any of that, because I'm not an insecure person. I don't feel the need to control others in order to define me. That's all these fucking dipshits. That's their shtick, no mine. They're going to act the victim. Like I'm Big Bad Dale, giving them a hard time. I've not even mentioned their names. I'm talking about their content. I can talk about what Rachie believes in. I can ridicule that reason. I can ridicule aspects of it. But I don't need to attack her. I don't fucking know the woman. Neither do you. Engage in a discussion. Look for the contradictions in the claims. Talk about that. Highlight that. Everybody's got this, I need to eradicate. They should be hung from the lamppost. They should be shot. They should be this. They should be that. Passing judgment, being judgmental because you're insecure and you don't even realise it. There's people out here with all sorts of outlandish beliefs, all sorts of outlandish claims. None of that defines me or affects my reasoning. None of it. So why would I feel the need to go... I spoke about this with NASA. NASA's no forcing me to believe their stuff. The minute people from NASA come here imposing on my free will and trying to make me believe and do this and do that, then there's a war that happens. Because you've stepped over the fucking line. But if people at NASA want to sit and talk about planetoids and going to fucking Jupiter and Uranus and showing pictures and all that, carry on. Carry the fuck on. What does it say about me if I'm running about trying to shut them down? That I'm some sort of insecure little fucking dictator? Couldn't give a fucking rat's ass what NASA thinks or Rachie or anybody else for that fucking matter. All I give a fuck about is the world I live in and the practicality that's here in front of me. When somebody comes to me and says I've got an interpretation of a particular phenomena, I like to go through the reasoning of that interpretation, because so I can see if it stacks up, if it's solid. Not because I hate them or I want to pass judgment on them or anything like that. It's because I'm curious about the reasoning, because I want to sharpen myself up. And a lot of these people give me the opportunity to sharpen myself up, so I appreciate that they exist. I don't want to eradicate them from existence. I've been angry in my life and I've said things and blah blah, but I don't have hatred in my heart. I don't go out and murder people or batter them or any of that stuff. Not once. That only happens when somebody steps over the mark and tries to impose on my free will physically. Then we've got an issue. Other than that, I'm totally secure. I don't agree with that either, Rachel. You know, that the amount of people that would have to be lying. I mean, there's so many people that have been born into circumstances that you know, we've heard that through history. Science thought this, and then it altered and it changed. For me, you know, when a mathematician comes to me and says to me that he's defining, you know, level as a curve, he's no lying. He's learned that through his geometry, that the axiom and the definition that he's using and that he's operating from is this definition or this axiom. And again, I spoke to Craig a long time ago about that. Listen, I get the globe earth, you know, position, you know, and how you're defining things, right? It doesn't, you don't have to be lying. I'm not saying that there's not a faction of people that are lying, and that's in all walks, flat earthers, globe earthers. There's people lying for their own gain. But I don't think everybody has to lie. I don't think that, you know, people that are part of some religious cult or whatever are participating in a deliberate lie. Whatever the circumstances are, they've interpreted things, or they've, you know, people can comprehend, you know, conceptual mathematics, and they can convey conceptual mathematics, right, and make axioms and definitions of things. Are they lying? No. That's just their comprehension and how they're applying things to their interpretations. Doesn't mean that they're lying. If you set up a framework of interpretation and they're born into that, and then people utilise that framework for interpretation, then that's all they know. That's how their mind interprets things, based on that framework. Doesn't mean that they're lying. So I disagree with that. Everybody would have to be lying. Bollocks. That's bollocks. Again, was I lying when I used to regurgitate and spout globe rhetoric, heliocentric rhetoric? Was I lying? Or did I just think I had a grasp on things and that I was communicating what I thought I had a grasp on? It's as simple as that. Well, again, you know, Jacqua, you know, children lie. When they say Santa Claus is coming, you know, at midnight, I'm leaving my little cookie and my milk out for him. No, that's the framework that they were born into. That's the information that was given to them. So are all the children that believe in Santa Claus telling lies? The overall riding concept may be a lie, right? But the people involved in it that explicitly believe it, they're not lying. To them, they're just conveying what they know. That's a lie, Marty, I would say. When you know something's false and you make a statement about it, that's a lie. And you're actively lying for whatever reason. And we know, I've met people like this my whole life. I've done it in my life for my own little agenda or whatever I was up to when I was naive and young and gullible. We've all done it. Exactly, Chris, but that's, I said this before. How do I know that if somebody's lying? Well, if I go through the reasoning and there's a problem with their reasoning and it's highlighted and they don't address it, they don't move on and they continue on with it, then I have to look at it as, blatantly telling lies. And again, I'm not saying that. There is people about in all walks of life that every day are participating in manipulation, deliberately deceiving and lying to people for their own ends. That's just a fact. Again, things like that. I mean, I don't even want to digress into this. I've yet to see any practical engineer bringing forth blueprints that account for, building structures on curves. That's not the principles of construction. That's a miscomprehension. Just because somebody says that's what they've done. Where's the blueprints? The blueprints will tell you. Get the blueprints, the design aspect, where it has to be accounted for. You're using plumb and level, that being two lines, two datum points of 90 degree, perpendicular to each other. If you're utilising two datum points like that on a curved surface, you need to account for it in your design. That's a fact. I've never seen any technical drawing, blueprint, anything like that has non-parallel datums of plumb and curved datums of level. I have never in my life ever witnessed any practical engineer, construction, any of that ever designing anything with two datum points like that, non-parallel plumbs and curved horizontals. Doesn't exist. Does not exist. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry for people that wish that to be the case. Oh, what an article said it. Well, I don't care what an article says. It's just words. Get to the nuts and bolts. Where's the blueprints? I would love to comprehend how plumb and level, from practical terms of plumb and level, are applied to a curved surface. I've been asking that for fucking years. It's been nearly 10 years, not once. I've got friendships with people who are in high-end engineering positions that sit and tell me when they're designing structures, they treat plumb lines as parallels. They have to. But back in a wee second, I need to go for a piss. shrimp in the Barbie. Who did I miss? So again, you know, what gives rise to matter? What sustains and holds matter? You don't know, therefore matter doesn't, it's not real. You don't know what matter is and what gives it its form and all that stuff, so you don't, it's not real then. And don't get me wrong, there's a kind of hurtful aspect to some of this stuff. You know, when people misrepresent you and miscommunicate about you and stuff, it's no nice. You know, especially when people have got false conceptions of you, it's quite horrible. Not that I really give a fuck. If they want to have false conceptions of me, then fine. There's still a wee bit of me, that wee bit that kind of goes, oh, I wish that wasn't the case. But unfortunately it is the case. You know, we're living in a neurotic, fucking irrational world. And there's people that behave like this. I've met people like this my whole life. You know, and again, I've probably been that in my life, you know, dismissive, and I've never been totally dismissive. I've always been empathetic to people. I've never wanted to cause hurt to anybody else, because I reflect, I know what it feels like, you know, I gather from experiences, you know, and, you know, but as I say, it's not my place to control the world and everybody in it and its contents, so at some point you have to just sit back and say, listen, if people are going to formulate misconceptions about you, people are going to talk the back off you, people are this, that and the other, then, you know, hell mend them. What will happen is that they'll eventually eat each other. When you're not giving them any sustenance and giving them that attention, they will eventually just eat each other, and I don't know why that camera's doing that. It's no condensation. It kind of resolved earlier when I done that and moved back a wee bit. I think that's a lot of things that, you know, when I analyse me, Rachie, that was things that drove me to look at philosophy and religions and stuff, because of that fear of dying. And it was more prominent in my younger years, obviously, because you're full of hopes and expectations and, you know, yada yada. And there was also that part of you that you just don't want to accept that that's it, there's no more. But as you get older and you discern things yourself, you realise there's a bigger picture going on here and whatever else. But I think that's you know, the driving route of a lot of people who opt for religious or philosophical or spiritual type notions, because, you know, it's that fear aspect, which is totally understandable. The bit that I've never been on board with, again, is the people that want to, you know, feel like they have to make everybody else believe it so that they can be secure in their belief. That's just not right, you know. Juicy Lucy, hello. Boom, Music for Truth, how you doing? that's it, what will be, you know. As I keep saying, this place so far has not been the best. And as you get older, you start to embrace change, you start to embrace, right, maybe there is going to be something else, and there's no point in fearing the unknown. You know, if some people are correct that when you die that's it, it's over, then what's the point in crying about it, because you're not going to have a conscious awareness of it for it to bother you. You know? And I think that's a bit that scares people. It scared me when I was, younger, that when the lights go out, that's it, there's nothing. Well, hey ho. If there's nothing, there's nothing. I'm not going to know. You know, my problem came with a lot of these philosophies and religions, and you still hear it, and it's laced within their attacks, especially like the atheistic attack on like a religion or whatever. It's always rooted, I hear like the atheist attack or questions in religion, and I always see the problem. The problem is that people are assuming meaning and purpose that transcends this experience. And I use that analogy. When you go to an amusement park, you go there and you experience it for the thrill of the experience of what is. And then when you leave the amusement park, you go and you partake in some other activity. That doesn't transcend and leach into your new activity. So if I take the amusement park as life, right, and just using that as a simple analogy, I see the problem is when people start trying to, impose purpose. Now, it's all very well for you to tell yourself, the purpose I'm going to have in my life is this, but it's different when you say the transcendental purpose, that being the purpose for you being here in the first place, is something that transcends this place and has an effect and a role in some other realm. That doesn't make any sense to me. Particularly when you get people who talk about that we come from the infinite and the eternal, where you can't change anything, you can't add anything new, take anything away. And then you say, well, how then can your experience of here transcend this and alter that in some way? That doesn't make any sense. Because then you would be adding something new, which... So your God or your concept of that would have to be something finite, and it requires your experience here in order for it to grow. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know if I'm conveying that properly, and I hope there's no miscomprehension of what I'm saying. But I identified that was a problem. I was in these philosophies, these religions, constantly looking, what's the meaning, what's the purpose of life? And they all had all different answers. They all contradicted each other. And then the light bulb moment came. I'm trying to find a purpose that transcends this. The meaning of life, I'm trying to transcend the experience. Why did you go to the amusement park? To experience it for what it was. Does that make sense? Hopefully. I've heard that as well. I've spoken about that before. People that say, I'm not religious, and then they define religion as like Christianity or blah blah. For me, when we're talking about the world or the shape of the world or that, and you've got beliefs and aspects of that, it's a world view. It is part of religion. Part of religion is your world view. What you think the world is, what you think it means. It is religious. Especially when you're interpreting things from a bias. Again, I don't care what the earth is. in regards to, you know, having any sort of bias or wish or want for it. It doesn't exist in me. I never came to this going, oh, I want the earth to be a globe, or I want the earth to be this flat concept or this other. Not once have I ever thought like that. My attitude is I just want to experience it for what it is. You need beliefs, everybody's got beliefs. If I tell you Madagascar's a real place, and you've never been, then you need to believe. Not, again, you're trying to insert that there's this, I need to encompass or implant a belief in myself about Madagascar. That's not how my mind works. I can hear you making a statement to me, this place exists. I've heard that information. It just exists as information to me. This person's told me that there's a castle on the hill over there that I've never experienced. Do I then need to believe the castle exists? What's the place for the belief? It doesn't compute in me. All I'm hearing is information being told to me. Somebody's making a statement that there's something. Right? So I can either say, well, I'm not interested in that, or it's irrelevant to me, or I can say, well, do you know what? I'm going to go and investigate this information that's been given to me. And if I go over that hill and la-di-da, there's a castle that I can touch and walk around three-dimensionally and blah, blah, then I accept the castle's there. At no point do I require belief. Again, people conflate subjective belief about who they are, their relationships, you know, what they're going to aspire to, what they're going to achieve, and they equate that to objective inquiry. Belief doesn't have a place. Such and such is making a statement about objective reality. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that information. I don't have a belief or a disbelief or any of that stuff. There's no place for it. All there is my discernment and going, right, I'm going to now seek out through this information to see what I find, and then I can then say, well, that information they gave me was true because there's a thing there. No, lie doesn't necessarily equate to malicious intent, exactly. What if reincarnation is real and we are stuck in the earth forever? The soul trap thing. You know, again, Alan Panzer, I spent a long time in my life contemplating these things, scaring myself, putting myself in dark places. You know, I tortured myself with all that stuff. The problem human beings have got is that they're looking to transcend the physical experience, to impose some transcendental meaning and purpose to the experience. And that's where the problem comes. That's how you drive yourself fucking insane. That's why a lot of these things are comforters for people, and again, I make no judgment. Just as Rachel said, she found Alan Watts, it gave her comfort. Which is fine, because we're in a pretty scary situation. We have no fucking clue how we got here, why we're here, what any of this stuff is. We don't know what happens when we die. We don't, you know, it's quite frightening when you contemplate it. So the fact that these philosophies and these religions and these spiritual practices and ideas and concepts exist are a telltale sign of that schism, that fear-based realisation. Right? Because a lot of us are born into a culture that teaches us that death's a negative. So right then and from the off, you've got a negative relationship with death. So it instills fear in you. So then you seek to alleviate that fear by looking for some certainty that gives you comfort that it's going to continue when you die and that it's all going to be okay. And that's perfectly and totally acceptable and understandable given the circumstances that we're in. I don't decry anybody of that. The problem I've got is when these people then outwardly try and project that and use violence and intimidation and all sorts of other means to try and instill that in you because that's what they prefer. That's where I've got an issue. As I've made the statement before, subjectivity should not be publicly broadcast as an authority. So we've got mainstream TV, which is the authority, the established line of communication to the masses. And it's filled with interpretation, subjectivity, ideology, subversion, manipulation, all that stuff. And it's having an effect on people. Alan Watt, the Scottish guy, is underrated. I came across that Alan Watt, Mr. Golden V, a long time ago. Marty will testify to this. The first time I ever heard him was on a podcast called Freeman TV. Freeman Fly TV, or whatever he's calling himself now. That was many moons ago. And he had some interesting things to say. So it's funny that you mention that. I know a lot of people have come across him. When you hear Alan Watts, they're usually talking about, the kind of English philosopher guy. But Alan Watt is a Scottish guy. I can't really remember the content of what he was talking about, to be honest with you. It's been that long. But as soon as I get back into it, it would come back to me. I would remember what he was talking about. You just say, let's see. Sad guru. I take issue with a lot of these people. They talk about spiritual enlightenment because I can only speak from my experience, and what I was searching for was to be freed from the shackles that I had created myself, and those shackles were in the form of expectations. So once I relinquished the expectations and I reduced the amount of expectation externally that was coming at me because of the situations I'd put myself in, I was starting to wake up feeling lighter, feeling freer, because my day wasn't filled by expectation. So when people talk about spiritual enlightenment, for me it's when you can release and relinquish the expectation, when you can reduce not only your own expectations but others' expectations of you, then you start to feel a bit freer. And that's just in that context, right enough. So I've had a wee looks at some of it, James, and some of it's interesting. Again, it's the contents of the room, and I'm having to decipher and interpret and put a bit of belief or faith or there's no, and it's kind of, I don't want to dismiss it, but it's irrelevant to me because it's the room I'm interested in, not the contents of the room. Although it's interesting, but I don't think there's anything definitive that I can go on and say, yeah, that's exactly how it was. We can see architecture, we can see advancement at another level in previous times gone by. Spoke about that before. We hear these mantras of we're at the cutting edge. Well, certainly no. I would say we're in the dark ages. People have got less skills now. People are more removed from the practical daily lived life. Everybody's in some digital realm, social media, even evolution of this, more complexity. I don't see it like that either. I see us losing the complexity. Things are being watered down. Things are degrading. I don't see this from simplex to more complex. I see complex to simplistic, and that seems to be what's happening. Jim Carrey says similar stuff, music for truth. What about? Sorry, I'm losing touch with the chat box because I'm waffling on here. Jim Carrey says similar stuff. What was I saying? You'll need to everything in the room is a distraction. Yes, because it's what is the room? Where's the room? Why am I in the room? You know, I can see people have been here and played with some of the stuff in the room and they've built stuff and they've whatever else, but that doesn't give me any insight into what the fuck's going on. See, they've hijacked cutting edge of civilization and civilized living. We're anything but civilized. We're anything but, you know, operating from intelligence. Just because we've got technologies, that's being defined as the cutting edge. Fuck that. The happiest times in my life were devoid of technology. The most freeing experiences in my life never invoked technology. I mean, if our relationships with this tech was different and what it's being utilised for, then maybe. But that's not what it's being utilised for. Again, I don't blame the tools. It's how we operate them. It's how we use them. You know, I've laughed about that before. You've got smartphones with dumb users. They don't know anything about the mechanics of the thing they're operating on. All the days go like that, flick, flick, flick. How's that advancing us in any way, shape or form? Well, you can clearly see the degradation that's happening around you. The extreme poverty, the depravity. It's everywhere and it's getting worse. But apparently, we're on the up and up and we're evolving to be better and better and better. Experience tells me the opposite. Same, Marty. Yeah. Want to get out the room and see the rest of the house. iPhone, iPad, idiot. Same Dance with the Zombies. You know, unless you're giving them that balance, you know, they will lose any kind of practical skills. You know, I remember Marty showing like I don't know if it was an IQ test or an exam paper from, don't quote me word for word here if I forget the dates wrong, I think it was for the 40s or something, of like maybe first year high school students. I don't know the exact details. Marty will rectify that. And how, you know, Marty thought he had a grasp on like mathematics and blah 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 and thought he was quite intelligent, but when he looked at these exam papers from 40 years ago, he was baffled. He's like, fucking hell, I don't even know the answers to these. And this was from children. You know, we've spoke about that again before, the hijacking of the education system by the Prussian mimicry system, and how the removal of the liberal arts was done, you know, and that's what started to retard people, because you're taking away the operating manual of a human being, how to think, how to apply grammar with logic and rhetoric, and, you know, these things were removed. So they changed proper education from a method of how to think and replaced it by what to think. 1920s, there you go. TV, you know, as records, if you go by that, are showing that, you know, liberal arts was applicable to education. That's what the staple was. You know, we hear these stories of the past and how people were wise and intelligent, Mozarts and Picassos and all. These are like selected. For me, when I think back at the times, it must have been everybody. Everybody was, you know, had an aptitude for something practical, art, design, construction. You know, people were free in their thinking. That system was taken away, and the system that was installed was, this is what you have to believe, this is what you have to repeat. There's no, you can't look at the education system and see any methodology of a process of how to reason. It doesn't exist. Maybe in some private and, you know, institutions and whatever else, they're getting privy access to these things if you're paying top dollar. But, you know, they talk about the common man deserves education. It's an inversion. It's an indoctrination. It's not a process of how to discern and think, because if you allow that to happen, then people are going to start disbanding hierarchical structures and realising that your monopoly over them is a fucking sham, because they're going to be intelligent and have the ability to see through your rhetoric and see through your sophistry and see through your manipulations, right? If you help people to utilise these skills, then how can a power structure exist? So in order to maintain your power structure, you have to make sure that they're not smart enough to dismount you from that position. How can you prove infinity? Don't know what you mean. Sean, what do you mean? How can you prove infinity? I don't know what you mean by that. There needs to be context to that question. Pretty sure that's the same for 95% of his Richie. Wait for the answer, Arthur, exactly. That's the hope music for truth, you know, freedom of movement, freedom of expression, the ability to roam freely, so that people like us can just fucking go and see, you know. That's it. Repeat it back in your own words. Because what that does is instill a feeling of accomplishment, that they are offering something from their own reasoning and their own back, when it's really no, you're just rearranging what you've been told. The content of what you've been told has never been addressed. But by saying in your own words reaffirms that the content's true. If you put it in your own words, it solidifies it in the minds of the naive and the vulnerable. Exactly, Phil, there you go. Some practical, you know, tools there. Well, that's what they want, you know, Alan Surge, you know, we have to believe that, because it diminishes you. Mozart and Beethoven, these were special people, so you are diminished right away. Now, if you had access to the freedom that they had, you know, then you know, there's no limits to what we can achieve. Look at how musicians have advanced by like something like YouTube, where they can get access to all various things. I mean, some of the musicians you're seeing coming forth nowadays are absolutely fucking incredible. Incredible. Mind blowing. Port Royal Tobacco in Scotland, never heard of that, Truth or TV. You seen a curve at high altitude, meme coin? What do you mean a curve? And you can just type yes or no, or what's your name, meme coin? Was the curve like that? Or was it like that? So like a horizontal curve? Or was it a vertical curve? And it's important that you answer that. Was it that kind of curve, like an arc curve in front of you? First one you'd say, so an arc in front of you. There's a problem. And I'll show you why. So, if you think you've got a curve in front of you like this, right, there's a problem. Because on a globe earth concept, you're always at the top of the ball regardless of where you are. So if you're standing looking at a curve in front of you, it's a geometric impossibility for you to see a vertical arc in front of you. The only way for you to see a vertical arc in front of you is if you're off the ball, say about here, looking at an arc in front of you, right? Because it's very simple. If you think you're seeing a vertical arc in front of you, then you would complete that circle. So the whole thing must be in front of you, right? And it's simple to understand, because if you think you're seeing the vertical arc here, what happens when you look to the right or the left? Are you seeing another arc? And are you seeing an arc here? How can that be possible? And the same behind you. So you'd have to have a sequence of arcs like this. It's impossible. The only way that for you to look straight out and see a vertical arc like that would be as if you were on a cylinder. So that when you look along the cylinder, you see the curve of the cylinder in front of you. It's an impossibility for you to be on a globe earth concept and look straight out and see a vertical arc in front of your eyes. It's nonsense. So people think that, I've seen an arc. I'm not saying you, meme coin or whoever you are making that claim, but people use that and think they're proving a globe earth. But it's impossible. They're wrong. What they think they're seeing is not what they're really seeing. You can't have a vertical arc in front of you if you actually lived on a ball. You would never witness that. Hope that helps. Now you would need to be off the ball. If you think about it, you're standing on a ball, right? It's hard for people to picture it in their mind. How can you have an arc in front of you? The ball's under your feet. You can't. You'd need to complete the circle if you think you've got an arc in front of you. Because if it arcs here and it ends there, then when you turn that way, that arc must now join that one. It's not an arc that goes like that and continues. You can't arc it continually around you. It doesn't work. So people use these observations and say, see, I've seen a curve, it's a ball. But they don't comprehend again that it's impossible. It's a geometric impossibility. It's literally impossible. Hope that helped. Well, I understand, very helpful, no worries. Infinite world? I don't know. I don't know. I don't make any claims about the world being infinite. I don't make any claims about that. And I ask these people that question. They think, oh, the Earth's infinite. So what? The Earth's infinite. So it's just infinite laterally in every direction, but no up the way, no down the way. So it's infinite laterally with a finite top and bottom on it. As I say, some of these people don't think through their positions. If I have a thought in my head about something, I continually go back over that thought and try and break that and persist in trying to break it. And through that process you realise the error of your own thinking. But a lot of people don't. They're just impulsive. They jump, because they're listening to other people. Oh, if the Earth's no infinite, it's finite, which means it's enclosed, which is limiting, and that's no good. I want it to be infinite. But it is what it is, regardless of what you want it to be. And as I say, these people that want to claim it's infinite, well, it has to be infinite in every direction. So they're claiming they're in a static, stationary infinity. Was he being funny? I don't know the context of this. I've got no idea. When I'm talking to that and then coming back to the chat, context is lost. No, man, he's a detective. You've said that now, so that means that's what you believe. Alan Surgeoners get humour like Marty. I think Alan and Marty have been fucking reading for the same book. A teacher tried to explain infinity to us once, but he went on and on and on and on. Matty's probably buckled in his seat, wetting himself at that, Alan. Static, stationary, infinity with electrostatics and magnetism, aye. Exactly, Imran. I told you a million times not to exaggerate. They're all coming now. Is this just all Marty sock accounts I'm seeing here? Don't forget RDD and impulse. No. Never forget that. It's vastly important. I listened to a wee bit of that, Rachie, about some globe guy, and the first thing he brought up was density and buoyancy, and I after 5 or 10 minutes, if it was that, of listening to him, I can't give my attention to it anymore. I just can't do it. It's bizarre, Matter has the ability to accelerate itself. It's fucking insane, man. You've took it out its equilibrium, so it just wants to get back to where it was and all this wishy-washy nonsense. Do you think that he actually believes what he's saying, or do you think that he's just a wee ego that just wants to be right for the sake of being right and just says words because he knows the people watching and stuff are not really deciphering what he's saying, but if he keeps saying them and says them with confidence, although none of it makes any cohesive sense. I mean, I've tried to analyse it and think, what the fuck is going on here? Is this wee guy deliberately behaving like this, or is he that dumb? I mean, I don't know. I can't get a grasp on it. Aye, you picked it up, so it went back. So I've picked this up from here, and I'm going to hold it there, and I'm going to let it go. Oh, why did it not go back? I thought it wanted to go back. That's what I think. Do you think it's just like an ego thing where he just wants to be right for the sake of being right? Because I see little stutters and I can see the lack of confidence and the conviction in what he's saying, and then he just doubles down and says it with I'm like, whoa, fucking hell, it's like he had the opportunity. It's like the wee voice inside is showing him the contradictions in his reasoning, and he's got the ability to just go, fuck you, and keep saying it. It's freezing here, Paul. It was frozen when I got up this morning. The pathways kind of thawed out a bit, but they're now starting to get back. But the grass has stayed frosty all day. Exactly, one man. And they're making their own beds. Aye, Alan Panzer, the reason I use the kind of bigger skins is because, and I'm sure anybody that smokes rolling tobacco can know this, they wee tiny ones just don't cut it. The time you put the filter in and you light it up, it's like a couple of draws and it's done. And I felt as if I was sitting there having to roll another, you know, with the bigger ones I can put it down and I can, you know, it's not, I don't smoke that stuff a lot. I don't smoke, cannabis, certainly not through the day or anything like that. It's like a nighttime thing, very minimal. But as soon as people see you rolling a kind of bigger than normal size fag paper, they automatically assume you're making doobies. I'm not making doobies. Is that the truth of TV? You sit down with a cup of tea and go, have a wee fucking fag, you take 2 sips out and it's done. The tea and the fag go hand in hand. I need the fag to last as long as the tea. I like the balance. It's an equilibrium and stuffs. It's all flat earth dogma, aye. And it's sad, there is some, there's genuine aspects to this and justified questions to be had, but these people are just hammering on. I dread to think like some of these people with their RDD going out into the street and bumping into, a sciencey person and trying to have that conversation with them. It's just, the people would just immediately think they were fucking retarded or at it, or, I don't know. I thought exactly. Stuart, you and Paisley? Certainly no Warren. Depends what we mean by how clouds work. Are you talking about in the context of Well, how do clouds work in your eyes, Earth? Because the Earth would hit the clouds. No, if you were talking about buoyancy, just like I've showed, if you go back and re-watch, you can see buoyancy being created in any vector, where something that's less dense gets pushed towards the direction of acceleration. Well, that's what's happening with the clouds. It's these morons that think that the clouds should stay where they are and that the whole Earth system should move up and hit them, because they're retarded in their thinking. I gave up with Roachy. I used to use Roach in my roll-ups and in my doobies, but I was getting, issues, and apparently, when I looked into it, it's because of the heat. The filter reduces a bit of the heat. That's how people years ago used to have big long, extensions on their fags, because they know that the heat causes more damage than anything. To the point where it can detach the lung through the fucking rib cage if you erode it enough. So I stopped with the Roaches because it wasn't the heat was causing, you get gum issues and you get lung issues as well. So I stopped with the Roach. I'm at Paisley, James, just outside Glasgow. I don't know what's going on with the camera, Imran. It's no condensation. It's struggling to get the focus. It's just as well because you would see my reptilian eyelids flickering in front of you and stuff for some reasons. So it's my Illuminati buddies have blurred the camera so that I don't let slip my reptilian undertones and stuffs. Try it, Rachie. Even if you're smoking a wee doobie, I still put the filter in. It doesn't take anything away. It just reduces the temperature, reduces the heat. You'll notice a difference. Bye, James, do that. I'm always looking for a jam. I'd love to get back into a band and get some music happening. I'm not saying with any agenda and plan to conquer the world, just to be jamming and throwing ideas about and having fun, without any agendas. If that's what you're up for, then bring it on, James. I would love that. You're a singer, one man. Good stuff. Sing us a song then. Back your claim. Proofsies. Demonstrate it. Get on the mic, fucking demonstrate, and you've made a claim. Nice one, James. I look forward to it. I might start feeling insecure that your man cave is far superior to mine though, and then I might have to start talking back after you and tarnishing your character because of my jealousy, my insecurities and stuffs. So hope it's not too good. There we go, we've got a tour driver and everything, Marky. Alex. One thing's for sure, I've been walking during the night across the Cairngorms and those fucking stars have been in the same place every night. Exactly, mate. Of 2023, my head's burst. Hope you're well, mate. Not heard from you for a while. You're awfully aloof. Awfully aloof. Yeah, we're good to catch up with you, bud. Best place for you up there anyway, mate. You know that, you don't need me to tell you that. You're living it. Can't wait till my fucking ambulance is ready. does the name of Jesus Christ rattle any demons in here, or does it put you in a hinge when his name is spoken? I see many people always trigger at his name. No? I don't know why. I don't know why you would expect that here gospelized. The man who could be dealing the upward vectors. I sing that now, you know that Midnight Oil song, Beds Are Burning. How can we dance when the earth is turning? I don't sing that now. How can we dance when the earth is rising? We could call ourselves RDD. Yeah, in a band name? RDD. Impulse. That could be the album track, Impulse. We've been in the darkness, mate, time's passing too quick, it's the same for us all, mate. Hope you're not getting too dark, bud. Can always reach out. Anytime, mate. Anytime. House of the Rising Earth. The stationaries. I know we're moving about the stage, but we're stationary and stuff. Philip, you sent me that, the People's Voice. New Hampshire becomes second US state to ban chemtrails. New Hampshire has become the second US state to potentially outlaw the spraying of aerosolized particulate matter into the skies, a phenomenon commonly referred to as chemtrails. Texas made history last year when the state representatives took into change. I'll read that. I need to look into who that is. The People's Voice, is that Ike? Is that no Ike's thing? I would need to check out the validity of that, Philip. Not that I'm dismissing it, you know. If it's been acknowledged, then it's about time. But I would need to check out the validity of that. I'll have a read at the rest of it when I'm finished. Cheers for sending me that, Simon. Far from the best thing in the world, but here's a taste, pal. Not human enough. I made it about 15 years ago now. Let's have a wee listen to Simon. many good musicians about you. Simon, you get fucking Steve Thorne, you get Des Sherwood. I would love to just share all these people and wish people would go and support this type of stuff. Getting wee vibes of Radiohead. Is it Radiohead? Aye. Radiohead, I'm thinking, is that the right name of the band? Aye. Very good, Simon. Proved your point. No bad. Very good. Aye. You getting vibes of that as well, Alex? There is one man, he's detected. It was a proper recording. I'll share it. Let's see. See, I'm not on here publicising a lot of stuff, and there's, as I say, there's great people, as I say, Steve Thorne, and maybe I should pay more attention to promoting stuff like this, but I just don't, and it's not because I don't like it or anything like that, it's just because it's not my bag. But you know, when I hear stuff like that, I wish, you know, all the best for these people and that they get more attention for their endeavours. Say Steve Thorne, Des Sherwood, and Music for Truth's there as well. You know, there's a loads of people. They don't own me, Alex. I don't think I've heard that. Gospelized, just like many other nuggets of wisdom that I contemplate and I take on board. But I just can't rest myself on one thing being the objective truth. I'll cross that bridge if I come to it. And if it was relevant and I should have paid it attention and have to suffer for that, then so be it. But my life's walk's my life's walk. You know, for whatever reason I'm in the position I'm. Again, not that I'm detracting from anybody's belief in these things. You know, Andrew, a good friend of mine here who's a devout, you know, Christian and talks Jesus and, you know, that kind of stuff. I pass no judgment. Each man to their own. Fuck, Alex, you've committed the cardinal sin. How am I supposed to? I'm going to need to individually type all that into the search bar. If you send me an email, I can fire it up. I don't have a smartphone. I'm not smart enough to have a smartphone. No worries. People see these phones and automatically go, drug dealer. What, because I've got a fucking phone? Fucking jeez, oh. How does a phone equate to drug dealer? How does that work? All I require is that I can send a text message and I can phone. The kids can get a hold of me, or Emma can get a hold of me. That's about it. I don't want to sit here going flick, 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 flick. I date people as well, go, aye, what's your WhatsApp, you get your Instagram, Twitter, you get Twitter, I'll tweet you the new, Snapchat. Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, take your pick. Saw people on there trying to define themselves and look for validation. Define me. I preferred the days when I just said, listen, I'll get you at the sports centre at 5 o'clock. or putting 10 pence in the box to make a quick phone call. Right, I'm at the sports centre, you cunt. Where are you? We'll talk to each other when I see you. MySpace, I remember that. That was one of the early ones, aye. Simon, exactly. Be careful with this message. The sender has an authenticated message email to verify it all came from them. I mean, who got the email? Oft, very nice. Oft. That's very plush, James. That's making me insecure. I'm going to need to upgrade. I want a pool table now. Nice. Aye, look forward to it, mate. What will days all? Oh shit. You've left a phone number there. Mobile, I'll text that mobile number. What that board? Used to be no bad at darts when you put the effort in. Nice one, James. I look forward to it. Show the people you want me to show it. He wants to fucking show off his man cave, right? Fine. That's fine. Let's fucking look at James's Gallus man cave, right? There we go. Nice. Very nice. That's it, Arthur. There's no jacuzzi in it. What a letdown. It's a shithole. Doesn't have a jacuzzi. Yeah, I bet you did, Alex. See, James, you're taking it tight now, right? You've not got a fucking jacuzzi. It's too tidy. Right, now you're getting the criticisms. That's what you fucking get. Right? They dance pole either. There's a buggy. I rent it out in Airbnb. Fucking 2 hours ago, jeez oh. I have rambled. Anybody got anything to say? Is there any other questions other than the questions that I've addressed? Don't know what's making the earth move. Clouds are simply an effect of buoyancy. The earth's not going to crash into them. What's outside your stationary earth? What's it sitting on? What's supporting it? What gives it its vector? Can we get some answers, please? It's been great. I enjoy this. I don't want to end it. If people are quite happy just to talk, and we'll talk about anything that comes up, I'll stay on for another wee while. I'm going to jump for a piss. Right, and I'll be back. See what's happening. No, Eric. Try see there as well. How you doing? No, Dan Jones. No. Spoke about that a few years ago, that being a kind of burden. You know, that I wouldn't know. No. Do you know much about this load shedding going on in South Africa there? No, what's that? What's that? Now, I've also been hearing, Marty was actually telling me that apparently in was it Kazakhstan, Marty? There's a media blackout. Apparently the people in Kazakhstan are dragging these nurses and doctors out of these COVID things or whatever, and there's a total uproar earlier and there's a total media blackout. I don't know, I've not managed to verify any of that. I just heard it, but I don't know if anybody's got any information on that. But what's this load shedding in South Africa? Not just because I don't know enough about what life is. Who was that? Dan. You know what this is all about. obviously the body's got its own drive to reproduce, and you're influenced by hormones and these drives that you think's your conscious choice when you're actually being driven by hormones and you're no rationally thinking about what you're involved in. Now that I contemplate what life is and the fact that we know very little and obviously the state of the place, I certainly wouldn't be, not that I would ever take them away from my existence, that's not what I mean. But in an ideal setting, no. I spoke about that before. I would discourage human beings from breeding. We've been sold these mantras that it's somehow a good thing, that we keep going and we keep breeding and we blah blah blah, and I'm like, in order to say that, you must have a picture of the whole then, to say that it's good and that it's a good thing for us to continue to breed here and to bring new life to this. I don't know where people get that reasoning from, other than that's what they were told. Still over here in Boston, my man. Thanks for pretty, huh? I don't know what that means, Augustus. Exactly, JC. They're protecting a falsity. But it's alright, I mean, they're banding together into their little groups and they'll just end up eating each other, Well, they profess how balanced and, rational and lovey-dovey they are to each other, and when they don't have anything else to put their attention to, they'll turn their attention on each other. Well, aye, I mean, if a place go better, and we were actually all having fun and living in total freedom, then aye. Of course. Where were you, JC23? What chat were you in? Yesterday they were relieved it was over when I left the chat. Aye. Must have been stressful for them. Fixed his windies with a putty. Some people say we live in a simulation. Simulation simulates something else, or it's like a holographic thing. Well, at some fundamental level it might well be, but we experience it as a solid three-dimensional, solid bodied objects and space between objects. That's at our experiential level. At some philosophical level it could be a hologram, it could be, or objectively it could be some holographic thing. I mean, any of that stuff is in the realms of possibility, like any other postulation of possibility, but all I know is that I'm at a level where I experience it as what it is here and now, and that things are defined and definite, solid, gas is gas, liquid's liquid, and that's all I've got. No, that's what I've said a long time, Sean. How can you know the infinite? How can any person know infinity or know the infinite, the eternal? That's and why would you want to? Fed's Discord server, yes, they said it racks their nerves to talk with me about Earth's movement. It's funny, but it doesn't rack your nerves to talk about any of this. Funny that. Matters. selfish for wanting children nowadays. It's not a great place for them, but then in the same breath wonder if we need them in order for at least a chance of change. For fuck's sake, are they still at that, JC23? I've got tattoos, so that means I'm a Freemason. And it's that total disregard that if somebody is a Freemason, I'm no, right? But people that are in the Masons are Freemasons. So what, they've to be what? Strung up and killed because some dipshit on Tinterwebs decided all Freemasons are evil and satanic and all this. I mean, this is the type of generalised fucking nonsense that these people come up with. It's fucking bizarre. What would it matter? Even if I had come out and says to you, listen, I'm a Freemason and here's my fucking 33 badge and here's my... What does that mean? Does it matter about what I'm talking about and the content that I'm offering, trying to remain objective and talking about practicality? You know, if I say to you, look, an air bubble moves in the direction of acceleration and I show you that, and then somebody turns around and goes, but he's a Freemason, does that change the physicality? I mean, these people are fucking gimpy morons. They listen to these sensational, generalised fucking gimps that just want to fear porn everything, spread fear and negativity and How dare you have tattoos? I know, it's fucking horrendous. So it went from talking about the motion and vectors and stuff, JC23, to them posting videos about me being a Freemason, because obviously you can't think for yourself. You're just under my spell, JC, because I'm a Freemason, tattoos and stuff. So you're just a dim-witted fool who's just regurgitating what your master, me, has told you to say and stuff. This is the pictures they try and paint. It's the same with fucking poor William listening to these dipshits yesterday. I've got a picture of me and baby William. I'm baby Dale and he's baby William, and somehow poor little William's under my spell and can't he think for himself. Well, at the same time he must be snorting cocaine and all this fuck. I mean, these people just spin. Well, they sit there talking about me attacking them. They're sitting there spinning these fucking webs, these narratives about people. It's fucking... Ugh. Everybody that has tattoos is evil, satanic, Freemason. Aye, woe betide anybody that fucking dares to be 33 years old. Oh, if you ever get to the point where you're 33 years old, just lie. You can't even say you're 32 because then you could be a 32 degree Mason. I mean, what age is it alright? At what point do we escape being labelled as a Freemason? As I says to people before, liars, manipulators and deceivers will put on any fucking robe, right? Liars and manipulators and deceivers are in all industries, all fucking corporations, all walks of life, families, social group and settings, you know, everywhere. I want to identify the tools of manipulation and liars because that's how it helps me to see them. By trying to categorise liars as just people that wear this robe, or have these tattoos, or have an earring, or have a haircut, or a... That's not teaching anybody anything. You know how to lie. You know how to manipulate. Learn from that. Then you can see it in others and see who's telling fucking lies and who the bullshitters are. These people don't want to talk about that. They want to fear porn everybody into pointing fingers at, you know, some group. As far as I was aware, Masons were part of the Enlightenment who went out to try and educate people about their tools and their blah blah, or something like this. This is just stories you hear. And that was infiltrated because obviously that path was to free people and give people proper education and access to tools, right? And they were infiltrated and turned into some secret sect or whatever. There's also the flip side where I can look at it and say, well, is it any wonder that people with intelligence opt for societies of their own out? Because the vast majority of people are fucking, you know, obnoxious, fucking neurotic, irrational. So you could say, I'm in my little society because I sit here in my fucking shed and don't really want to indulge in any social settings because I don't want to subject myself to that and bring unwanted stress and nonsense and drama into my life. So I can look at it for other different possibilities. Because it's the vast majority of people talk as if they're high and mighty and butter wouldn't melt in their mouth and there's all these evil doers around them. These are the most evil fuckers out there. These people I was just talking about a minute ago, they're deluded into thinking they're spiritually fucking sound while they sit and chastise and misrepresent and lie about people and tarnish their character. They're so twisted. Del, are you AI? Cheers. What does that mean? What does that mean? Am I AI? Am I artificial intelligence? I spoke about that before. I view the body system as an artificial intelligence. Right now I'm breathing. My temperature's being regulated. My heartbeat's being regulated. There's all sorts of processes happening that do not require any conscious volition whatsoever. So there's an automated process going on like an intelligence, and the brain works like that. It takes things and feeds you things and ideas and interpretations and blah blah blah. So it's like it's good. And if you don't consciously participate in analysing what it's doing, then you're going to become subject to it. So you can look at like a duality, like me, the I, is something separate from the physicality and it has its own processes. So it's like an artificial intelligence. Because as I say, it's repairing itself, it's breathing, it's regulating its heartbeat, it's regulating its pressure, its temperature, it's fighting off all sorts of invasive things, it's doing all these things that I'm not consciously participating in. So there's a form of intelligence that's not what I call my conscious intelligence. There's something else going on. So if you mean, am I AI like the physical body, then I would say you could categorise it as an artificial intelligence. Jai, that's exactly how it seems to be. Against the context, I don't know what that question's meaning. Are you AI? No, he's just out of focus. I see, this is the age of broken minds. Yep, I would say this is the intellectual dark ages. It's just messing me a great answer though. Right. Is it just me that thinks like that? You know, as I say, with the human body, it grows, it repairs, it regulates, it does all sorts of functions that I've never had to participate in. Yeah. But you can override it and make it do things like extreme exercise or whatever. You know, that's where you see this duality. The body's got these processes, it wants these things and it does these things, but then you have to consciously override certain aspects, and that's true in the physical sense and in the mind. So say, because if you're not paying attention, it's absorbing stuff, and if you're not filtering stuff correctly, then it's going to feed and make conclusions and put things together for you and throw them at you. If you're not consciously participating in that, so I you know, through experience, I can see there's a definite duality at play. You know. Right. Exactly, Rachie. It requires none of my conscious participation. When I go to sleep at night and I'm not conscious anymore, it's still regulating, it's still doing all the stuff, it's growing, it's repairing, it's whatever, it's processing food, it's doing all sorts. It's a sophisticated fucking technology, this human body thing. You know? But as I say, you can override certain aspects of it. You can decide consciously to control your breathing. Some people can even start controlling their heart rate, their temperature. You know, as I say, you can force the body into, you know, doing extreme, you know, physicality. You can advance it. You can use your conscious volition to adapt it and make it stronger, more robust, more athletic. You can do all these things. But as I say, the basic operating system, that's happening, and I don't know what's controlling that. Someone's controlling it, certainly not me. That's limited, Jimmy K. One will cut your toenail. You know, it'll grow the toenails, but then I need to cut the fuckers, or I need to wipe mine out. It doesn't deal with that itself. Yeah. Exactly, no story now. It's only going to get worse, I think, so gospelized. I spoke to Andrew about this in regards to, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah and some of these kind of religious teachings, and you can see a parallel with a lot of it, you know. Just to reaffirm to you that I'm not anti any of these things. I'm just an observer. I take things in, I contemplate. I don't have an agenda against any particular religion or any of that stuff. My agenda is just to discern and keep moving forward in my own progress and what I can find out. That's it. Have you ever seen someone in REM suit? It looks like the body is running diagnostic tests on all the systems. That's what it's like, JC. Exactly. You know, people think AI is some external thing. You know, again, all these technologies are reverse engineered from, you know, biological life and systems. That's where we get these things for, you know, and people are all talking about AI, you know, something out there, and I'm looking and going, well, you're already fucking operating with an AI. If the body's not an artificial intelligence, I don't know what is. And I don't mean artificial like it's synthetic, man-made. I mean, it's like it has its own operating system, does its own processes. As I say, you're not participating in that, so there's an intelligence there. There's communication going on. I have an idea. Why don't submit your work to be peer reviewed? Well, peer review it then. Peer review it right now and tell me what you think. Carry on. It's all there for you. You can come and have a conversation with me about it. You can peer review what I'm offering, and then you can come and speak to me about it. Charge on. Yep, full. Yep, or you want to go skydiving or something, or jump off a high height, or any of these things. You've got to actually overcome certain things, and you've got to push through in order to achieve it. Solipsism, people that think they're the only true conscious entity and that everything else is just there for them and that they're the only true being. Is that what you mean? Exactly, CG. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about going to elected officials in a certain paradigm who operate from a presuppositional bias and interpret things to fit a presuppositional bias, and then they're going to see something that contradicts that and they're not going to like it, so then it's no right. I mean, these people are free to observe what's been shown to them, then they can then go and recreate it themselves, and they can bring the findings. Again, it's not about man's words, it's about practical demonstrations, right? And then you bring in your practical to show that this practical is incorrect. Carry on, hurry up. Aye, Sean, capillary, they call it capillary action. Yep, and they had issues with that when they were making, they realised a lot of these things trying to get water up to certain heights, and there was a cap on that. Like how everything is a creation in our own mind. Like what? What's a creation in your own mind? I never created the world in my own mind. Oh, you talking about solipsism? Aye, that's what I was saying. That there's nothing really here and blah blah blah. But again, you can use a simple example of that. A newborn sentience, whether it be a newborn animal or a newborn child, whatever, is going to be subject to cause and effect. So if they're in a car accident 2 minutes after they're born, there's going to be a consequence to that. They're probably going to get squished. So, this experience doesn't require you to formulate a belief of it. It is what it is. You can believe whatever you like about it, but there's definite physicality, there's definite form, and you're going to experience the cause and effect of that. No, Dan, I know. As I say, when the weather gets better, I'll go out and I'll speak to people. I've got a couple of ideas, practical, just to make the point out there and see what happens. Take it easy, no story, take it easy, mate. Right, I'm getting hungry now, so I'm going to dip off here. It's been a pleasure. I will no doubt see you soon enough. Cheers, Arthur. Same to yourself, or whatever it means. Right, take care of yourselves, everybody. See you very soon. Take it easy. Alex, give us a shout if you're still